Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be discussing the most recent events in the Boku no Hero story, including the dark origins of One for All and that mysterious vestige world which contains the consciousnesses of previous One for All users. We finally got some important answers to some of the biggest mysteries in this series, and the real final battle of this arc has just been set up, so let's get into it. If you enjoy our Boku no Hero content and you want us to keep it going, please leave a like to let me know, it really does help. And if you're new to AnimeUproar or you just haven't subscribed, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. By the way, we've started live reacting to the latest leaks and spoilers for Boku no Hero and other series over on our Twitch channel. If you'd like to chat with us about the latest reveals before we even publish our videos here on the YouTube channel, follow us on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/AnimeUproar, or click the top link down in the description. And of course, this video will contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, proceed with caution, all that good stuff. Now let's get into it. If you've seen my previous Boku no Hero video, then you know that the last installment of the story left me with many questions. What is this so-called vestige world, and how are Deku, Shigaraki, Nana, and All for One all able to exist together inside this strange, non-physical world? In the newest installment of the story, we definitely got some answers, including some jaw-dropping secrets about One for All and All for One. But even so, there are still many lingering mysteries that are yet to be resolved. The latest chapter starts off with Nana making her presence known to All for One inside the vestige world. To me, it seems like Nana is being protective of Deku, and she seems to be challenging All for One in order to stop him from attacking Deku and stealing One for All. All for One laughs at the fact that a corpse is talking to him. He mocks Nana right in front of Shigaraki, and he even tells Shigaraki outright that this is his grandmother. All for One doesn't seem to be hiding the truth from Shigaraki at all. He doesn't feel the need to hide the fact that he was the one who murdered his grandmother. Deku concludes that all of this must be happening inside of One for All itself. So that means that Shigaraki and All for One have managed to gain entry into the vestige world that was supposed to be a place that only One for All's users are able to enter. This is no joke. If they've made it this far, then All for One and Shigaraki could potentially steal One for All. This is serious, and Deku knows it. But how were the villains able to infiltrate this mysterious, non-physical world that was supposed to be exclusive to the users of One for All? That was my biggest question in the previous video, and thankfully in this chapter, All for One finally gives us some answers. All for One explains that just like some people claim to take on the personality traits of their donors following an organ transplant, All for One experienced a similar phenomenon every time he stole someone's quirk. He would experience vivid dreams and memories that didn't seem to be his own. Rather, they seemed to belong to the original owners of the quirks that he had stolen. At first, All for One thought that maybe this was like his own guilty conscience playing tricks on him, but then he noticed that whenever he would relinquish a quirk that he had stolen, he would instantly stop experiencing the strange thoughts and dreams of the original user. Once he met Ujiko, All for One understood what was really happening. All quirks seem to hold the memories and personality traits of their original users, and these traits remain even once the quirk is transferred to someone else. Essentially, once All for One steals someone's quirk, a portion of their personality, some aspect of their consciousness, is still embedded inside the quirk factor. All for One always thought that the ability to interact with the consciousnesses of the people whose quirks he had stolen was a phenomenon that was exclusive to him. But he now realizes that some form of this phenomenon had also manifested within One for All. As a result, some aspect of each former user's consciousness has embedded itself within the One for All quirk factor. And that is what allows Nana and the other former users to interact with Deku inside the vestige world. That is also what allows them to influence Deku's behavior at times, like when they helped him break the effects of Shinso's quirk all those chapters ago. It seems to me that when All for One created the quirk One for All by combining his brother's original quirk with the stockpiling quirk, All for One itself created the vestige world. This phenomenon is no longer unique to All for One because his own quirk was used to create One for All. So this ability to interact with the consciousnesses of former users became something that every user of One for All could also do. All for One believes this to be a curse, because while he can simply get rid of the quirks that he has stolen, and that allows him to get rid of the original owner's consciousness, users of One for All don't have the ability to relinquish the quirk factors of former users. As a result, All for One's brother and all the other former users of One for All are basically stuck inside of One for All for all eternity. A fragment of their consciousness is forever trapped within this dark vestige world, and to All for One, this is more of a curse than a blessing. As All for One is speaking, Shigaraki and Nana recognize each other. Shigaraki never knew Nana, but he recognized her from his father's photo. And far from feeling compassion for his grandmother, Shigaraki makes it clear that along with his father, he also blames her for all of his suffering. Even though he never met Nana, Shigaraki blames her for setting everything that happened to him in motion when she abandoned her family. And so, Shigaraki, along with All for One, attacks Nana and Deku. And Deku can feel that One for All is being eroded by this attack. One for All appears to be in real danger of being stolen, and whether the villains can actually steal it or not will depend on this battle of wills, which is now taking place inside the strange vestige world. All for One encourages Shigaraki to keep going. The quirk All for One is responding to Shigaraki's unquenchable rage, and presumably if Shigaraki's rage and willpower is strong enough, he will be able to steal One for All. We've always been told that One for All needs to be given up voluntarily, but All for One is the quirk stealing quirk, and All for One is the quirk that literally created One for All. All for One himself clearly believes that stealing One for All is possible, so I do think that it might be. Otherwise, All for One spent decades trying to do this even though it was impossible, and that would be kind of anticlimactic, and it doesn't seem that All for One would be that gullible. One interesting thing that I have to point out is the fact that Shigaraki not only hates Nana and Deku, but All for One notices that Shigaraki detests him as well. Probably because All for One is trying to manipulate him from inside his own body, and Shigaraki isn't having any of it. At this point, Shigaraki really does hate everyone, and he is ready to go all out until the bitter end. He has nothing to lose. Far from being upset that Shigaraki hates him, All for One thinks that this is brilliant. He believes that this hateful mindset is exactly what Shigaraki needs to become the greatest villain, the symbol of fear. But it is clear to All for One that something isn't working. Shigaraki hasn't been able to overcome and absorb One for All, and that is because the original One for All user, All for One's brother, can be just as stubborn as he is. At this point, we see All for One's brother appear next to Nana, and he proclaims that they will not relinquish the power of All for One over to the villains. The former One for All users have chosen to stay inside Deku, and they will lend Deku their strength and the power of their wills so that he can beat Shigaraki back. This appears to work, and Shigaraki feels himself being pushed back by One for All and the collective willpower of Deku and the former users. All for One implores Shigaraki to let him take over and lend his own strength to Shigaraki's. As he does this, All for One does his best to provoke Deku. Apparently, All for One has been watching Deku through Shigaraki for some time, and he has learned a lot of Deku's weaknesses. So, All for One starts calling Deku useless. He says that Deku couldn't even protect his own friends and teachers. He is so weak that he can't even move his own body inside the vestige world, and so on. I believe that these provocations are specifically designed to rattle Deku and to lower his willpower so that Shigaraki could overpower him and steal One for All. Unfortunately for the villains, this strategy does not work. The original One for All user explains that Deku is someone who always does his best for others, not himself. He is someone who is prepared to sacrifice everything for others, and he's not interested in his own personal gain. As a result, Deku uses this urge to save others as his willpower, and this allows him to overcome all challenges, including common sense itself. That is a good point actually, because for better or worse, Deku often does things that defy common sense. In that moment, Deku is somehow able to move his body and he surges forward right at Shigaraki. The next thing we see, both Shigaraki and Deku are ejected from the vestige world and they are back in the real world floating in the air. They both appear to be severely injured, but Shigaraki seems to be in a much worse state than Deku. Shigaraki hears the voice of All For One yet again, and All For One explains that Shigaraki's body is too weak to overwhelm One For All because his procedure was interrupted prematurely. All For One tells him to step back and replenish his energy, at least for now, and Deku hopes that Shigaraki will give up and stop fighting. In spite of everything that happened, Deku still doesn't want to kill Shigaraki. He is hesitating to deal the final blow, and it's safe to assume that Deku will come to regret this eventually. I mean, once Gigantomachia and the others show up, the heroes will have their plates full and Shigaraki will have time to recuperate, so by not killing Shigaraki right now, Deku is likely putting himself and his friends and the wider hero society in imminent danger at some point in the future. The chapter then switches focus back to Gigantomachia and the other villains. They must be close to the Jakku battlefield because Dabi is excited that both Shigaraki and Endeavor are in the same place. Dabi believes that they are about to liberate the Hero Society once and for all, and I honestly can't wait for Dabi, Shoto, and Endeavor to all meet in the same place. Meanwhile, Toga is still clearly traumatized by Twice's death at the hands of the heroes. Toga asks Mr. Compress, if heroes are supposed to save people, then was Twice not a person in their eyes? Why did they kill him instead of saving him? And are they going to kill her too? Toga says that she wants to ask that question to Deku and Ochako, and it seems that Toga's actions will be guided by the answer that they give. Toga is crazy, so you never know what she's thinking, but presumably, if they say that Twice deserved to die, then Toga would attack them, but I doubt they would even say anything like that, even about a villain, but we'll wait and see. Personally, I think Toga's comparison here is totally off base. I mean, I know that she's crazy and a villain, so her perspective is skewed, but it's not like Twice was just like a troubled guy who was minding his own business and then Hoox killed him. Twice and the other villains are responsible for the deaths of many people, and they are planning to wage a war against the Hero Society, a war that will definitely have a lot of civilian collateral damage. I mean, just look at what is happening right now with Machia's rampage, and Twice's Sad Man's Parade is an ability whose destructive potential is on par with Machia's. Hoox tried to talk Twice into giving himself up peacefully, but when that failed and Twice was about to get away, Hoox had to kill him to stop Twice from using his quirk to kill countless others, including pro-heroes and potentially even innocent civilians. Don't get me wrong, I liked Twice as a character. He was a fascinating and nuanced villain, and his death was definitely sad. But from Hoox's perspective, he did what he had to do. By killing Twice, even though he didn't want to do it, he likely saved many lives. So Hoox did what he had to do. I know Toga is upset because Twice was her friend, but hey, you know you're a villain, right? And you know that you're fighting in a war that you yourself wanted to start against the entire society? I mean, actions like that have consequences. Villains do bad things and they hurt a lot of people, and heroes have to stop them. Deku's hesitation in taking Shigaraki out could come back to haunt him. I'm sure it will. And that is why I do believe that Hoox did the right thing, even though it was a difficult and tragic thing to do. But let me know what you guys think. What is going to happen next? I'm thinking that Deku will refuse to kill Shigaraki, and this will give Shigaraki time to recuperate once the other villains arrive and the heroes are too busy dealing with them. I also predict that Dabi is finally going to reveal his identity once he comes face to face with Shoto and Endeavor. Let me know if you agree, and what did you think about this epic clash between One For All and All For One? Did it surprise you to learn that the Vestige world was likely a creation of All For One itself? And do you believe that One For All can really be stolen by All For One? Definitely share your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, show your love by leaving a like, it really means a lot. And if you're new to AnimeUproar or you just haven't subscribed, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You really have to go through the trouble of hitting that bell and then selecting the option that says all. If you don't do that, you're still gonna miss a ton of our videos, even if you are subscribed. It's just how YouTube works. Don't forget to follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/AnimeUproar for all the latest leaks, spoilers, and breakdowns for Boku no Hero and other series. I want to give a big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. A special thank you to Alpha Sigma and Liam Thompson, disciples of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Ingrata, The World, A Quiet Respect, Pate Heffa, Jonathan King, Rathuin Deora, Emperor Otaku, Thomas Jones, Kinmano, Admirath, and Chris Torley. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Nothing But a Fan, King Zeldris, Anatoly Kazatsky, Angel Cruz, Cricket XP, Joe Stanton, Very Gucci, Alicia Octor, Hinokami and Water, Bonnie Parks, Jason Wilson, Florian, Joanne Garcia, Steelers, McShamus, Jessica K. LaFond, Deadly Saint, Stern Hawkins, and High School DxD 73. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value to you, consider becoming a patron. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!